You guys have used 2 of your last three first-round picks on offensive linemen, signed a lot of veteran offensive linemen, but you also had 30 visits with a couple offensive linemen. Long question short, would your previous investments in the offensive line keep you from using high investment in an offensive lineman in this draft?
One of the things that when we started this draft process with, we had a coach and we had their offensive, and boy, are we in great shape. One thing Shotty did, he did it right when I said, boy, we want some attention to that offensive line, and he gets his coordinator. That's one heck of an expert there, and he gets one of the best offensive guys. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Team within the team, the offensive line. And so one of the things that we started the meetings off with was, guys, we've had some of the best offensive lines around Dak known to man. And we've also had some pretty good running backs around him too, around the same deal. Can you put that kind of resources in your offensive line? And can we get up there playing around the rim so that we can get one of these things with that offensive line? And I said, we've been with Larry Allen. We got one when he was rookie. Other than that, we didn't get one. Okay, Zach, we didn't get one. Okay, so it doesn't automatically work. Okay, but generally when you step back and look at it, we've had some pretty good teams around a War Daddy drafted offensive line with a lot of ones. Obviously, when those guys get ready to come up, if they're that kind of player, then you're going to have a lot of resources invested in that offensive line out there with it. Did it pay off? Well, it's done a pretty good job for Dak. Did a good job for the running backs that were around him, pretty good there. So as you've got something to look at. We won't necessarily eliminate, because we've got the resources we have in the offensive line this weekend. We won't eliminate that because of that experience. We've had some success with loading it up with top picks in the offensive line.
What's good, people? It's your boy, Mr. Rome, Cowboys Fan Talk, right back. Like I never left. What's up with y'all, man? The draft is tomorrow. The draft is tomorrow, and there's so much stuff going on. I'm sure you are confused, because listen, I'm a little confused, but I think I know what's going on. Before I get into that, though, hit the sub button, hit the like button. I appreciate y'all's support. Trust me, it never goes unnoticed. I just want to always let y'all know I'm thankful, and I appreciate y'all. Now, what is Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones and them doing? Will McClay, what are they doing? I really had some thought about this, because there's so many smoke screens out there. Like the week of the draft, the Cowboys are enamored with offensive linemen, and the Cowboys like this guy, but maybe they'll take Jahad Campbell, and then maybe they'll do this. Is it edge rusher? Is it corner? We really love linemen. Although the entire draft process has been weapon, receiver, running back, Mel Kiper. It's been, so we're all over the place. And not to be funny, the Cowboys do have that many holes. So let's not act like we don't. That's first. That's first. But I really do think that Jerry Jones is tipping his hand if you're paying attention. Now, don't get mad at me, because I could be wrong. I am not always right. That is not my brand. That ain't what I stand on. I like being right, like everybody else, but I'm not here to tell you I'm always right. But this is my thought process, because this makes the most sense to me. I think Jerry Jones is tipping his hand and letting the world know that we're not going offensive linemen, because there's no way in the world, because this doesn't make sense. First of all, I really was thinking about this. Y'all do me a favor in the comments. Let me know who else is doing pre-draft press conferences. Not post-draft after you get your number one pick, but who's doing pre-draft? Let me talk about who I'm going to take or what I'm going to take press conferences. That's the number one. That's the first red flag. Like, what is that for? What are you doing? Why are you doing a pre-draft press conference? That don't make sense to me, but put that to the side. Gets up there, Will McClay, Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones, Brian Schottenheimer, the conglomerate. And they're talking about different things, and they talk about Micah's contract and, team philosophies and things like that. And it's all over the place, and people's making different facial expressions. And it's hard to read. You don't know if this is a planned thing or if they're going off the cuff, and it's confusing. But one thing that Jerry Jones did, and shout out to the brother Vash Lombardi, because look, I told you I'm a fan of everybody. Fan of everybody. Everybody brings different things to this Cowboys content space, and I appreciate them. Just move with integrity, and I appreciate y'all. Vash said yesterday, and salute to Vash, man. That's my dog, man. That's my dog. For real. Like on and offline. Vash was saying in his live stream yesterday, Jerry Jones mentioned offensive line 15 plus times. Literally, go back and listen. And I ain't catch that. I know he was saying it a lot. I also know that he brought up how important a special running back is. And that's very important. I want to touch on that in a second. But he just kept bringing up offensive line and how that made Zeke great. It did. If offensive line was what made these backs great, why did you go get Ezekiel Elliott at the 4th pick? You could have took Jalen Ramsey and just got any other back in the later rounds because the line was so great, right? Last night I was doing my live stream. Shout out to BJ Nix. He came in there. Nix let me know. He said the Cowboys drafted offensive line in the first round only 10 times in the first 20, 30 years of our existence. It wasn't even a primary focus back in the day. What was a primary focus is amazing weapons. Yes, amazing weapons has been our standard with quarterbacks or running backs. Like Pearson, you know what I'm saying? Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin. We've always stood on amazing weapons. Offensive line has been a big deal, no question. But I think we've always stood on an amazing running game with an amazing running back. That's just me. But anyway, I'll continue. My point is this. Jerry Jones saying, I want offensive line. Offensive line is so important. This is probably what we're going to do. That's probably what we're going to do. That's probably what we're going to do. Why would you do that if you know that people have the ability to not only jump in front of you, but the people in front of you have the ability to take something that you want? Why would you do that? Especially a person that's is conniving, not conniving, as savvy as Jerry Jones is. He's a salesman. He's always trying to find a deal. He wants to trick you out of your money. He's that type of dude. Why would he want to make sure that you know what I want and I don't have no ability to stop you? That makes zero sense to me. I feel like it's a blinking light that he's going in the other direction. Now, I could be wrong, and I'm sure if I am wrong, 1,000 of y'all gonna come in my comments and be like, CFT, wrong again. Because that's just part of the job. That you want to be a content creator, welcome to people gonna hate on your takes. You know, don't get mad. It is what it is. I've been doing this since 2020. Trust me, the only thing I can guarantee is death, taxes, and people hating on my takes. There's other things I can guarantee. It's just funny. Jerry Jones is not going to point to offensive line that hard. I just don't believe it. Now, if we take offensive lineman, I will be sure to apologize. I was wrong, but I think it's a smoke screen. It's a big smoke screen. And as the days go by, it gets worse. First, I said the other day, I said, come on now, y'all pointing to offensive line. It's a whole lot of stories. Calvin Watkins talking about it. We're never with Josh Simmons. There's a whole lot of Nick Harris releasing stories about 30 visits and Tyler Booker. And it's like, hold on. Why are we talking offensive line so heavy this week? It was just Matthew Golden. It was just Ted McMillan. It was just Ashton Genty. Mel Kiper said it was Amarion Hampton. Now, weapons just out the door? We not even mentioning them? That whole press conference, they didn't mention no weapons. Why? I don't remember them talking nothing. They brought up speed and brushed past it. You like speed? Yeah, I mean, it's important. It ain't that big a deal. Oh, it ain't that big a deal. Speed ain't that big a deal. But we make people run to 40 and do full stories on ESPN about how fast people are. But speed ain't that big a deal. Come on, y'all. Come on. At the end of the day, I just don't see Jerry pointing to offensive line that hard. I don't feel it. It don't feel right to me. My gut is telling me we're going with a weapon. Now, this is what I really think is going to happen. I think Ted is going to go. I think it might be in a possibility that Matthew Golden's going to go. And then I think the Cowboys are going to trade back. And then if it's an offensive lineman there, maybe we'll take him. But just sticking and picking an offensive lineman at 12, I don't feel it. If we traded back to the 20s, early 20s or something like that, take offensive lineman, fine. Because now we got the tools to go get other stuff in the later rounds. But sticking and picking like Tyler Booker at 12, Kelvin Banks, Mimbu, I don't feel it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't feel it. But y'all let me know how y'all feel in the comments. I feel like this is a smokescreen. I feel like the Cowboys have an idea what they want to do. They just ain't putting it out there properly. They're trying to trick people like we always do. And I feel like people see through it anyway. But it's your boy, Mr. Rome, man. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all.